Yeah, we're excited to get back home for sure. Friendly confines here at Brook Stadium, and to honor our seniors is going to be a special night for us. And we got 26 great young men that are going to play their final game here at Coastal Carolina. So we're excited to go out. Our team's um, looking forward to the challenge and the opportunity to send those guys out the right way.
Any chance Samari is available to play?
No,
Okay.
no, he's not.
I mean,
Again, he's making progress. I do see him doing some things that is encouraging, but I don't think the turnaround can get him ready fast enough.
Same question about Shane.
Shane's out. Shane's out.
Coach, you alluded to after the game that unfortunately you had to suspend a couple players defensive wise.
Yeah.
What's the status on those guys? Are they reinstated? Are they going to play this week? And will you have a full defense with those guys being back?
One of them will be reinstated. The others will not.
Okay.
Violation of team rules.
How many people are we talking about?
Two.
Oh, two that won't play and one that
Right.
will be reinstated.
Correct.
So there were three total last week.
Yes.
Would you like to name any of those players?
Not really.
The adjustments.
Good try, but
The adjustments you had to make last week with those guys being out, in the struggles you mentioned after the game of having those guys out. What's the game plan going in this week, knowing that two of the three are still going to be out, and you have to play a pretty good football team with minus two of your big players?
yeah, I think at the end of the day, the guys that we played hard. They did. They're going to continue to get better. We made some moves. We had opportunities to move some people around to give them a chance. So they've earned it. They've done some really good things playing special teams, and you'll see Chris Henry, you'll see Chase Jackson play a lot more in the game, and they've done a really good job. So I like what I saw in practice today from those guys, and the majority of the guys up front, and I mean, we're going to play. Our guys are going to go out there. It's why they're all here. They're all waiting for these opportunities to go play, and we'll see what those guys can go out there and do.
JMU obviously has a lot to play for this week with their playoff situation. Is there any extra motivation knowing that you guys can play spoiler to what has to happen for them this year?
I'll be honest. Again, it kind of goes back. We got to get back to playing our football. Like right now, defensively, we're not playing the way we played. We don't have the juice. We're not getting excited about playing, and we had that conversation about that. Playing fast, I think our guys are playing to not make mistakes. They're playing waiting for something bad to happen, and that's not what we were doing. And so we addressed it with the team. We talked to them about playing hard, continue to play hard, but have fun and just lay it out there. And whatever happens, happens. But you got to feel good about you're giving your best effort, and that everybody is. And as far as who we play, it's really irrelevant. Like it is. Would we like to beat them? Yeah. Just why? Because they're next. I mean, it doesn't really matter if they're a playoff team. They're considered the best team in the league. They're considered the team that's going to represent the East. And and right now it's the next game for us. So on both sides of the ball, and our special teams are welcoming the challenge. They're a really good football team.
Coach, is there an opportunity for MJ to see a little bit more playing time this week? And have you even maybe evaluated giving him the start over Tad at this point?
Well, I think we could. I don't want to say that we could evaluate him necessarily to be the starter. I think we're comfortable at this point with Tad, but MJ certainly knows he's got to be ready, right? We have to score points and we have to move the ball. And as unfair potentially as it may be, it still kind of falls back on our quarterback being able to do the things we need him to do, take care of the football. We all have faith in Tad. He's done it. We've won with Tad. We beat South Alabama. We've done some good things with Tad at quarterback, and everyone's behind him 100%. I don't want him looking over his shoulder worrying about if I make a mistake, I'm being taken out. If that opportunity arises in the course of the game, then we'll make that move if we need to.
Coach, knowing how important the run game is to the offense, facing a team like James Madison that's inside the top 10 in terms of rushing yards allowed per game, how do you have to run the ball against them?
Yeah, I mean they're good up front. They do a really good job. Their two linebackers do tremendous at what they do, and they bring their safeties down really hard. And you got to be patient. You got to be patient. You got to stick to it. You got to give them some different looks. You know, and and you just got to do what you do, and you got to be better than they are. You know, you have to be patient though. Like some teams, they get down and they get out of their plan, and our big thing is just continue to do what we do, be patient at what we do, take what they give us, um, be able to handle their pressure when they pressure, because they do, offensively, and we got to score touchdowns when we get down there. We've moved the ball, but we have to finish the drives and score touchdowns. If we're kicking field goals or turning it over on downs, then we got no chance. We have to be able to get down there and score in the red zone. And right now we're the number one. If you take the conference games, we're the number one red zone offense in the Sun Belt. So we have to continue to do that.
Did you see Tad being patient? I mean, a career high 29 completions against a pretty good defense in South Carolina.
Yeah, but that was also part of our plan against South Carolina. We felt a little overmatched in there, and our plan was get the ball on the edge. And instead of handing it and having 6 guys block 6 guys, we threw it out there and had 2 guys block 2 guys, and said, okay, let's see what we can get. That was basically our run game.
What was the main thing that popped out to you when you watched the film, when you went back to watch that South Carolina game, that maybe was a little disheartening to you, knowing that, hey, we could have been better here, or we should have been
Tackling.
better
Our tackling was not very good. And you credit them. I mean, they had some good players, and they made us miss. But tackling's a form. It's a technique. And we didn't play with good technique. When you stop your feet and you dive at people, you're going to miss them. You got to run through the blocks. I thought our guys hustled and played hard. We just were not very good at the second level in particular at tackling. Our angles were bad. We have to improve that, and we've been pretty good for the most part, but it really showed it reared its head in this game.
So Coach James Madison's dominated the last 3, even before you got here,
Yeah.
against you guys. So have you been able to identify what it is about what they do that has allowed them to just dominate the last 3 games you guys played against?
I think as a program, because they've obviously had different head coaches there as well, they're very solid, top to bottom, in everything they do. They're big, they're strong, they run well, they're well coached, they're good on special teams, they're good on defense. They don't beat themselves. It's almost a tradition, right? And goes back to, I remember watching them play when they were an FCS school winning national titles. They did it the same way. And they find ways to win because they've won. Tight ball games, they don't lose. They find ways to win. And so that's what happens when you develop a program of 2 national championships and things of that nature. It becomes part of the culture. So I think that's a big part of it. I do. I think that we expect their best all the time, because when James Madison joined the league in 22, Coastal Carolina and under Coach Chadwell and having Grayson, we were towards the top of that in that time frame. Us and so I think that's become something like, hey, that at that time Coastal was one of the top teams, so they were geared up for it pretty good.
You talked about how difficult this week is with Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. How are you handling that with your team the remainder of the
Yeah, I mean, we've moved practice back a little bit to give them some rest time. We're going to do like a Thanksgiving meal with the team tomorrow. We practice earlier on Thursday to allow some of the local guys to go home to see their families, and then bring them back in on Friday and do like we normally do. We're still going to practice and go through our normal routine and like we do. It's just different for them. They're out of schedule. Really good athletes, people that have had success, are very routine driven. When your routine gets broke, it kind of messes with you a little bit. And so it's always a concern as a head coach when you have to do things different than what you're used to doing, because you're never sure how your team's going to handle that in terms of just emotionally and mentally, right? They're used to night game. Hey, Saturday we get up, we do our stuff, we get 2 hours in our room, we come back down, and we're ready to go. Now it's just different. Everything's just different. So you just got to get used to that.
Coach, you noticed that Schuster got a little playing time on special teams. Obviously, that's just the constant work and professionalism that he's put into the program. Can you just talk a little bit about that and just getting some playing time for him and kind of what he's done since he's been here on campus?
Yeah, I love Nate. He works extremely hard. He's a great young man. He does everything we ask him to do, and as you mentioned, because of his hard work and his trust, as we learn and gain trust in Nate, he's finding his way a little bit on the field. And you've seen that. I mean, Nate's playing. Caden Crawford is doing tremendous on special teams. We've had a lot of guys. We had Brandon Rose playing, doing really good things. Xavier McIntyre. So a lot of guys that are depth level players really took a role into our special teams. I was really proud of them. I mean, that punt returner was the number one punt returner in the nation. We had him to 3 yards returning on, or whatever it was, 2 yards on 3 kicks that he returned or something like that. And our guys rose to the challenge and did a great job. And Cam Avery, another one, right, goes down and makes a tackle inside the 20 on the kickoff. Like, we're getting good production out of some of those guys that are getting their opportunity. So back to your first question, when you talked about how are we going to fill the guys in defensively, these guys are starting to warrant opportunities to go out there because they're making some plays.
Is there a scenario where Nate may be able to see some plays at the receiving side?
Potentially, yeah. Mm-hmm. We're beat up there a little bit too, so yeah.
What does it
Question,
say?
guys?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. What does it say to you about Jamison Tucker just as a player, considering the game was out of hand, but he's still on special teams,
Yeah.
blocks that punt, and
I
was
mean,
able to score?
First of all, what a great in the last 2 games, Jamison's played phenomenal. He's not only did he block the punt, his effort on covering the punts when he's on a punt team, and he made 2 of the tackles on the kid, but all effort plays. He missed them the first time, got back up and still made the tackle on him. But yeah, what he did and how he did it. But even, I mean, just picture perfect technique, low hands, like didn't rough the punter, like exactly how it was coached and taught, and executed it. And it was a great plan put together and how we were doing that. It was great to see Tuck being from the state and to be able to make that play for him, and had him be an honorary captain before the game. So it was a big moment for him, I'm sure.